Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today I want to address a question in the comments that was left a few days ago about third-party relationship, third-party connection with the Divine Masculine, with your Divine Masculine and the third-party connection, and how that relates to the video that I made titled "The DM is Showing Up," how the DM is showing up in your reality. So the question I first want to say, and thanks you guys for leaving comments. I appreciate all your comments, and I'll always do my best to answer any questions that you guys have or make content on any questions that you guys may have going forward on this channel. In addition, I want to say that my Twin Flame course should be available by the end of the month. That's my goal, is for it to be available by the end of the month. If I don't make that goal, it'll definitely be in May, but I am shooting for the end of April. So that being said, how the Divine Masculine is showing up in your reality, as I went over in that last video, is determined by what's going on within your own energetic system, right? By what's going on within your own limiting beliefs, by what's going on with your own inner dialogue, your inner talk, you know, how you're describing things, how you're seeing the world, you know, what your woundings are doing. Woundings, I use that word loosely, and basically just how you're defining them, right? How you're labeling them. And a lot of it is, are you pissed off, right? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? You know, are you just really annoyed at your Divine Masculine because they're in another situation, or because they're not with you, or all of these sort of things? You know, a lot of times it just boils down to the fact that the Divine Feminine is just straight pissed, right? And so we're angry, and so we're projecting that anger out onto the Divine Masculine as if they're the ones who needs to change their behavior, right? They need to change their behavior. As I said before, they need to heal. You know, they need to do whatever it is they need to do in order for them to become, you know, more awakened, or a better person, or a more healed person, or to step into their divinity and all those sort of things. And when we're on that train of thought, right, which is a narrative that a lot of twins do sort of roll with, especially in the beginning of this journey, because it's just so damn difficult and it just doesn't make any sense. And so we're leaning on the things that we used to operate from, which is third dimensional, you know, template relationships. And that's what we know. And so that's obviously how we're going to lean. And so we're going to look to the Divine Masculine as if that's the same pattern and role that they need to take, because that's what we're used to. But that's not what this is, and it's not what we'll ever be. And that's what keeps us spinning. So I'll keep touching on that through the video. But for the main thing is that, you know, when we're talking about any sort of questions that are framed around, you know, does the Divine Masculine awaken? You know, how do I navigate this Divine Masculine third party situation? Or, you know, my Divine Masculine is married, so what do I do about that? Or like, does the Divine Masculine have free will? Does the Divine Masculine actually have feelings for me? You know, the Divine Masculine says they don't want a relationship with me. What does this mean? So I definitely completely understand being in a situation as a Divine Feminine of wanting to understand this journey coming from that angle of it, right? Having all of those questions come up that we naturally want the answers to, right? I get that. What I really need to drive home with this is that all of those questions, although they are normal and natural to us as we're moving through any sort of relationship we had with the past, with a soulmate or a karmic or a non-soul family member or whatever it might be, is not how it's operating once you're in dynamic connection with your same soul, right? Because once you're in this dynamic, once you have been activated to go through your spiritual awakening, then it literally, I can't make this more plainly, everything just needs to stay in your lane. This is all about your lane. You have just shifted gears and you have turned into your lane, right? So whatever your name is, it's basically saying, like, for me, it's Lalana's lane, and that's it. So whatever your name is, that's your lane. You can see it as that, you can describe it as that, you can talk to yourself like that. This is my lane, right? This is Lalana's lane. And so that means I need to stay in my lane. I don't need to be concerned about what the Divine Masculine is doing. I don't need to be concerned about if they're married, if they're in another relationship, what that relationship looks like, whether or not it's with a karmic, whether or not they have free will, whether or not they have feelings for me, whether it's reciprocal, whether they're awake, whether they're gonna awaken, all of those stuff, right? Although normal based in the third dimensional template, they're all coming from separation. It's all coming from the fear of wanting to be able to control this dynamic. And so when we step into that fear, we have swerved out of our lane back into the separation template, right? So this takes practice, right, to navigate this thing. This is not a one and done, and I keep saying that. This takes time, right? This is not like a few months and, you know, you've got it and that's just the way it is. It's just, it doesn't work like that. And I know, like, especially in this reality as the way we have it now, we kind of like that quick fix thing. You know, the social media pushes that quick fix thing. We want things to be done now. We want to understand it now. We want to have it figured out. We want to have union now. We just want it now. And we don't have a lot of patience in regard to, you know, being in that allowance space, that receiving energy of the divine feminine, right? And I know most of the people who are watching my channel are divine feminine, so that's mostly who I'm talking to, not gender specific. And so when we're in that place of saying, like, well, how does this look in regard to free will or third party, you know, and all of these sort of things, we have just stepped into the wounded masculine energy, right? We have just stepped into the chasing energy, the hunting energy, the seeking energy, the looking energy. This is the energy that is really pushed in this reality, and whether you're a male or a female, it's the energy that's pretty much dominant, right? You know, and we're taught that you go after what you want, you know, you kind of, you know, you have the goals and you chase them and you seek them and you know, don't ever quit and all of these sort of things. But when it comes to this path and being in a divine feminine energy and harnessing your divine feminine energy, coming back into your true goddess nature and coming back into your sovereignty, we really need to, like, lean back. You really need to lean back into your receiving energy. And we have to understand that all of those questions that are coming up, they're coming from ego, right? They're coming from a fear-based energy wanting to, as I said, control this dynamic, or wanting to step back into the driver's seat, right? The ego is wanting to step back into the driver's seat. And that's the issue on this path, is that the ego is coming from the false identification of self, which is not you. And it's like getting the mind on board to try to, like, figure all of this stuff and, you know, to come into that logical place. The thing is that even if you understood, like, okay, the masculine is doing X, Y, Z, or yeah, they have free will, or no, they don't have free will, or this is what's going on with a third party, it's still not going to help you. This is one of the biggest things on this path, you know, that we need to really understand. It's like in other videos that I've said, you know, I can break down all of, like, the soul structure and how everything works, and I can show all sorts of diagrams and draw it all out, and your mind is gonna like it. Your ego is probably gonna like it too. And for 30 minutes, an hour, a day, 2 days, you're gonna feel like, okay, cool, I get it now, I understand it now, I got it now. And then 2-3 days later, it's gonna start rolling again, right? That mind is gonna be like, okay, so what now? Okay, so what now? The thing is that the mind and the ego, it's never satisfied. That's like one of The biggest keys on this path, right? On any awakening path, even if you're not a twin, right? Is that the ego always wants more. It always wants more, right? It's never enough. It's always seeking. It's always looking. It's never in stillness. It's never in presence. It's never in the now. It's always in the past or the present. It's always like over here, over here, over here, over here. And it's always like, but I need more information. But I need more information. Okay, give me more. Okay, give me more. And so no matter how much that we feel like we're feeding this incessant need for understanding this path, until we get into balance and we start neutralizing what's going on, and we start understanding that this is all energy and that it is not coming from mind stuff, and that the mind, no matter how much it may think that it understands this path or what's going on with the divine masculine, until it's in balance, it will always be doing this. And it will always be asking more questions, and it'll always be in that seeking place, because it's never going to be at rest, right? So it's always running after things, right? The ego chases. That's what it does. It tries to attain more and more and more. It's why when you go out, and I've given this example before, like you go out and you get something that you really wanted, that you've wanted for a long time, and you're like you're excited about it. You're like, man, I've been wanting this for a long time, right? Whatever, a purse, a car, shoes, a house, whatever. And you're all about it for the first few months. And then inevitably, you're going to want something else. You're going to want the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. So this is what the ego does. This is what that fear-based energy does, of wanting to know and to know and to know. It doesn't know how to stay in quiet. It doesn't know what peace is, right? And that's what this path is about. This path is about, it's a soul path. The soul isn't out asking 1,000 questions. The soul isn't trying to figure everything out, right? Your consciousness is not like dipping back and forth between all of these things. It's the mind that's doing that. It's the emotional body that is responding to that. And that is what's keeping us out of alignment, out of balance, and in separation. And so as much as we want the answers to all of these questions, and I certainly do understand that, it's a momentary fix, right? Is all that it is. It's going to be a momentary fix until we come back into the understanding that this is an inside job. It's an inside job, and it'll always be an inside job, and I need to stay in my lane, and I need to get in my receiving energy. I need to balance the polarization out, and I need to just stay focusing on me, my self-love, my self-union, union within. Like, that is the job of the divine feminine. You are leading the charge. No matter what is going on with the divine masculine, you are leading the charge within, right? And so, although I do make videos, and I'll continue to make videos that talk about whatever is going on within you is going to be a reflection that you see in your external reality, right? This is true. So if you're running all of those separation programs and patternings and belief systems around the divine masculine, as I said, what they're doing, who they're with, right? It's not going to help you. It's going to keep you in that pattern. It's going to keep you seeking and searching for answers based on what they're doing and where they're at and who they're with, right? As I keep saying, like, this path is not about the romantic partnership with the masculine. It isn't. And I know that that makes a lot of people upset, and I understand that, and I get it. But it's not what this path is about. It can be the icing on the cake, as I keep saying over and over again, but it's not the cake, right? You cannot have harmonious, lasting, true physical union with the divine masculine unless you have true, lasting inner union with self. This is why you're being triggered, right? This is why everything that feels discordant and distorted and off in your reality in regard to the twin feels that way. Because you are still subscribing to all of the things that the twin flame path is here to make you stop subscribing to. Every trigger that the divine masculine reflects back to you is a gift. I call them the gold mines, right? It's a gift. So if your masculine is in a third-party relationship, that is also a gift. That is something that you need to look at and see, why am I so triggered by this? Why does it bother me so much? This is my same energy. This is my same consciousness experiencing itself in myriad of ways. So let me see what's going on within me that is making me feel so triggered, so sad, so upset, whatever. Most of the time, it's going to be the same answer over and over again, because I want to be in physical romantic relationship with that person. That's what I want, and that's all I want, right? That's what most divine feminines are going to say. And I get it. I've been there. I understand that. I really, really do. But the whole reason that you're being triggered, the whole reason that the divine masculine is showing up in the ways that they are showing up, is because they are reflecting back to you belief systems that you have running within you, and programs and patternings and imprints and all of these things that you need to clear. So there's no other way on this path, on this journey. And we chose it as souls for whatever reason. We chose this path to experience our spiritual awakening with our other to reflect back to us the things that we need to clear out, right? So on this path, this is the way of your ascension. This is the way of your awakening, is to be triggered by the masculine so that you see what's coming up within you, so that you can release it, heal it, transmute it, let it go, right? It's no longer going to be a part of your reality. And as long as these things are a part of your reality, as long as you continue to hold on to these patterns and you continue to create them, and so then therefore see them in your physical reality, is as long as the divine masculine is going to be reflecting back to you all the things specifically that you likely don't want to see, right? Then the things that are going to make you angry or frustrated or sad and all of these things. And it's going to just continue to happen. I mean, this is it's such a big thing on this path, right? It's such a big thing. It's it's so paradoxical, and I understand that it just sounds so damn complicated, but it's really not that complicated. It's just that the mind makes it complicated. It really isn't. It's really pretty simple, when we come down to it. It's just that we're so held on to what we believe. We're so held on to being angry or hurt or frustrated or victimized or having identifications with, traumas or karmas and all of these things. We're so locked into that description and that label and that definition of self that we don't want to let it go, right? The ego doesn't want to let it go. The ego just wants to be able to understand what's happening and to navigate in the same paradigm that it's been working with for however many lifetimes you've been incarnate here. And that's what makes it damn hard, is because, again, we're listening to the wrong driver of the car. That's the biggest thing. We're listening to the wrong driver of the car. You are the car, right? And if we have fear-based, egoic mind, pain body situations driving the car, which we always have because that's what we've been experiencing here. Now you're going through an awakening. You need to move those people out of the driver's seat. Take them off the wheel, right? Take them off the wheel. As I say so many times, pretend that you're driving a 3-row SUV and you got them all the way in the back, or a bus. You put them all the way in the back seat, and you made them put their seatbelt on and shut up, be quiet. I don't want to hear you unless I need your help. I'll let you know if I need you, right? I'll let you know if I need you. But right now, the higher self, who is me, and the highest vibration is driving the car. The higher self has the hands on the wheel and the foot on the gas pedal, right? That's it. It's literally just moving from one control mechanism, see you later, I don't need your help anymore, and stepping into the true control mechanism, which is soul, higher consciousness, source, God, creation, all that is, which is what you are, right? That's what's going on. And so when we have all of these questions come up, they feel very normal and very natural to us because we have been driving the car with the ego. We've been driving the car with the ego, and the ego thinks that it's us. We think that it's it. The ego's natural mechanism is to control, right? It is to want, it is to desire, it is to go after. That's why it's at the lower vibratory scale, right? And so when all of these things are coming up and we're like, we're kind of going with the snowball and, all of these sort of things, that is a lower vibratory energy. That's why it feels obsessive. That's why it feels addictive. That's why we feel we can't break free from it, because it's pulling your literal vibration down. And we're so used to that we don't really understand that until we get a taste of the awakening, until we get a taste of that higher vibratory state of our true consciousness and soul. How do you have a taste of that higher vibratory state? Well, you got a taste of it in that bubble love phase, which I hate to call it that, in that beginning phase when you were with your twin and you felt that high, right? That high was your energy. That high was your higher vibratory state. That high was you connecting back into source, connecting back into the higher self. That is you, right? That's why the ego death feels like a fall from grace. That's why it's so fucking painful, is because you got a glimpse of your true nature. You got a glimpse of your true source, your creation, right? And those first few weeks with the twin, that activation. Yeah, you got a glimpse of it. Then they pulled back and you felt like you fell from the highest state. And now you're, groveling around because your ego is trying to regain control. But you've already had a taste of who you are truly, right? You've already had a taste of it. So as the ego death is going on, it's trying everything it can to get back in the driver's seat. So it's asking all of these questions because it wants to regain control, right? But you are the higher self. You are the soul. You are higher consciousness. You are the receiver and the creator. You are the alpha and the omega. You are the beginning and the end. You are the divine masculine and the divine feminine. You are your twin flame. You're all of it. And I keep saying this, and I'm going to continue to say it. And I know that that's a super, super broad concept if you're still beginning on the path or if you're midway through. I understand, but at some point, it's going to click. At some point, it's going to finally hit. And when that point comes, then you'll start rolling, right? You'll start rolling with it. But in these initial stages and these midway stages, it really is about just freaking blind trust and just being in that surrender place and the awareness of, okay, I need to get a handle and a grip on what this energy is doing, right? I need to get a handle on a grip that I am that energy. I need to get a handle and a grip on the fact that I'm trying to control something with my ego patterns and my mind that I cannot control, because that's not what this is, right? That's not what I'm experiencing. And if I remember how that high vibrational energy felt when I was first with my twin, then I'll remember that's what I'm moving back towards. Don't you want that feeling again? There's nobody on the other side of this camera that's going to tell me that that's not what you're seeking. It's what every divine feminine on this path is seeking. You are seeking that same feeling that you had in those initial stages with the twin, right? And the mind is translating that as, okay, so that means I need to chase that in order to get that, in order to gain that. And so I need to understand that because I don't know, right? But the thing is that is you. That feeling that you had, that activation, that initiation, that vibration, however it came through for you, is you. That is your energy. It's your energy. That's why it felt so high to you. That's why it felt so incredible to you. You came back into the connection and the remembrance of your true essence, of your true nature as an energetic sovereign being, right? Well, then we have to fall from grace to get rid of all the shit that is keeping your vibration low, right? That's literally what's happening here. You had a taste of your true source essence, right? And then it's basically saying, in order to stay here, we need to get rid of all this. We need to get rid of all this shit that is blocking you from you. The imprints, the belief systems, right? The limited beliefs, all the stuff that you've been identifying with, we have to let that go. So that means the ego is starting to feel like it's dying because it's been identifying with all those things and it's been asking all those questions. Where's the divine masculine? Who's the divine masculine with? How does this look? Do they have free will? Da, 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 da. Not realizing that the divine masculine is you, right? The divine masculine is you, same energy, one consciousness. So all of these things that you're going through right now are parts of the ego dying and trying to regain control of this path, and it cannot gain control of this path. It never will be able to, right? So this is that aspect that's saying, stay in my lane. This is about my inner union. This is about falling in love with self. This is about coming back online. This is about going through the awakening process, not resisting my ascension, right? Not getting in the mind space and letting the mind tell stories and go nuts and all of these sort of things, right? This is about coming back into true union with self. That's what this path is, right? And you already had a taste of what that feels like, right? And the thing is that we completely think that it was the masculine that made us feel that way, right? It's the masculine that made us feel so high and so good in those first few weeks of us coming together with the twin. And so we naturally want that person. But the thing is it wasn't that physical body that made you feel that way. It was your own energy that made you feel that way. That energy can follow itself anywhere. It doesn't have to be in one specific person, right? It's the energy that made you feel that way. And it was the reconnection with source that sparked it, right? This is why I say things like, when you look into your twin flame's eyes, you see source, you see God. It's like falling back into the true self, you know. It'll make you catch your breath, anybody who's ever experienced that. It's because you're not pining over that person. You're pining over the fact that you feel like you have been abandoned from source. I'm going to get into the core wound in another video, the core cosmic wound of what's actually going on here and why most of us have abandonment wounds and why we are connecting that abandonment wound to the twin flame. The twin flame is you. It's your same consciousness, right? You have one higher self. You're both source energy. You are both source energy. There is no both. It's one source energy experiencing itself in form, reflecting itself back to itself in order to awaken out of the dream and the questions that the ego is trying to understand, right? So I know that's a lot. Like, I get it. I get it. I do. And that's why this thing feels complicated, because the mind is doing all of these things and trying to wrap its head around it, you know. But the thing is that this is about stepping into that receiving energy, you know. This is about coming back into union with the one. And as long as we are looking at the twin flame as separate, you know, asking like, you know, do they have this or they have this, do they have that, they need to do this and they need to do that, then we are perpetuating physical separation between self and self, right? We're creating that separation, right? We're believing in that separation consciousness still, right? This is why dropping all of that, although I know it is difficult, and just coming into true surrender and trust that I am a divine sovereign being and I am actually going through my awakening, and so I'm not going to resist that. You know, I'm just going to allow it to be, and I'm going to allow these things to fall away. You know, I'm going to allow what's coming up for me, what my divine masculine is triggering in me. I'm going to take the time to look at it, to process it, and to transmute it. Right? I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm not going to keep telling stories about it. You know, I'm not going to keep myself trapped in the wrong lane. You know, I'm going to just allow myself, stay in my lane, focus on me, pay attention to what's coming up for me, allow it to transmute, do its thing. I'm not identifying with that stuff anymore. I'm coming into balance. And I can promise you guys, I can promise you, you come into balance and you're going to be wondering why you didn't do this stuff sooner. You just are. It's a whole other ball game when you come into balance, right? It's just peace. It's just like you're not getting thrown around like a Raggedy Ann doll anymore, right? It's just peace. It's just like, it just works, right? It's just like you come back into the resonance of this is how it's always been. This is actually who I am. This feels amazing, right? And not in an emotional way, in a very peaceful, very balanced, very gentle way, right? So I'm going to do another video on neutrality. I'll do a video for you guys on neutrality so we can dive a little bit deeper into that last bit of this video. I just don't want this one to get too long. So just to sort of recap those questions that are coming up, although they make sense that are coming from the mind, they are coming from that fear-based ego mechanism, control energy that really wants to feel like it has a handle, and that as soon as it understands all of these things, then it's going to have a better handle. But it's just going to continue to have another question and another question and another thing and another thing, because that's not what this path is about, right? This path is about coming into resonance that I am an energetic being, that I am soul, that I am true source consciousness. That's what this is, and that I need to get a handle on energy. I don't need to get a handle on what they're doing or why. I need to get a handle on energy and what I'm doing and how I'm reacting to what they're doing and all of those sort of things, right? This is when having that like awareness that, you know, it's as hard as it is, especially in the beginning, you just need to stop paying attention to what the masculine is doing, right? You need to stop telling stories about what the masculine is doing as well, right? They come in, they trigger you, see the trigger, work on the trigger, release it. That's your job, right? That will begin with that, right? Let them trigger you, right? I'm going to do another video on detox and what my stance is on detox, blocking, ghosting, and all of that shit with the divine masculine. The trigger comes in, you see the trigger, work with the trigger. Allow yourself to transmute it. Then you move to the next rung. Then you move to the next rung. Stop trying to figure things out. Just pay attention to what's coming up for you. So the best aspect of this video would actually be, why are you asking the question? Right? If you're asking the question of, why are they in a third party, or how does this show up, or why do they have free will, or what are they doing now? Ask yourself that. Why do I need to know? How is it going to help me to know? What is that going to do for me? It's going to keep your focus on the divine masculine, is what it's going to do, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to keep our focus on us. And so this question actually is a great question, because that is showing you where your trigger is, right? Whatever just came up, that's your trigger. That's some sort of a belief system that the masculine is reflecting back to you, that they are asking you, okay, as a soul, it's your soul doing this, right? So it's almost like kind of taking a blind eye to what the twin looks like, what their name is, and all those sort of things, and just sort of see it as, okay, this is my spiritual masculine, this is my soul, who is showing me this through my physical masculine, what I need to release. And I'm being triggered by this because this is still within me, so I need to let it go, right? A lot of times it can be easier on this path if we just start seeing the masculine as energy. Just see the masculine as energy. For any of you who can visualize that, it will help you a lot on this path. Because when we're always identifying with them and they're so cute and they're so great and they're so, like, I get it, like, I understand, but that's you. You're so cute and you're so great and it's you that you're describing, right? So let's cut to the chase on that one as well. That's you that you're describing when you think that they are the end all be all, they are the shit. It's because you are the end all be all and you are the shit. It's like this thing will wrap your head in a circle. It is a paradox. It's a paradox. Keep bringing that thing back to you. I promise you, this is just you. Keep bringing it back to you and bringing it back to you and flipping it on its head over and over and over again. And eventually it will sink in. This is you and this is me helping me over and over and over again to drop all of these things that are keeping me suffering, right? It's like this is the biggest gift. I keep saying it's the biggest damn gift. You are helping you to break free. You are your twin is you, one consciousness, one energy, right? This is long. Sorry guys, love you. Hope you have an awesome day.